Thanks to EA for the game code.
EA Games.
Challenge everything. I've been pretty excited for Sims 4 for rent. For rent? Sims 4 for rent. That's a whole lot of fours in that name. Before we get started, I want to say that despite being given early access to this pack, I'm still going to give you an honest review of it. If something isn't up to standard or something bothers me, I'll let you know. Alrighty, let's get to the good. In this pack, you can build rental units, live in them, and manage them. There's now mold in the game, which can actually kill you, new build buy and CAS items, and a brand new world. I have to start off with the world. The world is, it's small. It doesn't have a lot of lots, and the lots aren't that big either. It's very disappointing that they've continued with this trend with recent expansion packs. It feels like the worlds are getting smaller, there's less neighborhoods, and there's not a lot of big lots. Give me 64 by 64, please. Honestly, the world, it actually does feel quite small with only 2 neighborhoods. This neighborhood has 4 lots, and this one has 5. Like I said, it's disappointing. As soon as I got into the world, I had to take a quick look around. I really like it. I saw someone on Reddit complaining that it didn't make sense that we now have rentals with a quote-unquote village world, but honestly, it doesn't give me that vibe. Sure, it's not a big city with high-rise apartments or anything like that, but it's clearly a high-density area. Look at all these houses, and look, there's apartments. Come on, guys. Come on. Plus, it's a really nice world. And look, here's a city for all y'all haters. I love the Southeast Asian feel to this world. It's nice to explore somewhere new like this. My first thought when I saw this was that it was very similar to city living. I feel a little frustrated that it took this long to get custom apartments and rentals into the game. I feel like there were so many opportunities that they could have introduced rental units that would have been appreciated and would have been sooner, like city living, eco lifestyle, and get famous. Particularly get famous in city living. Those packs scream custom rental apartments and property management. Oh, and I feel the need to point out this rabbit hole right here, the Tinsu Temple. It's located in this neighborhood. There is a second rabbit hole in the other neighborhood as well, the Sanctuary. I find that it's interesting to see more and more rabbit holes being included in each expansion pack for Sims 4, considering they seem to step away from that between Sims 3 and Sims 4. When my sim visited the temple, they gained a +2 happy moodlet from visiting it and seeing the building's beauty and rich history. I wish I could see the inside of the building since I love that type of stuff in real life.
Oh well.
In addition to visiting the rabbit holes throughout the day, you can actually break into them and visit them during the nighttime, which I'm assuming will give you different moodlets. Something that happened right away was my sim receiving a discovery quest. I feel like I've been saying this for years, and I have been. Sims 4 desperately needed something like this. Sure, it's super similar to the scenarios, and you could simply do that. Nonetheless, this is a welcome addition. It seems like these discovery quests will pop up randomly and will encourage your Sims to complete certain actions. For me, the one I got was about crafting items and selling them. Once completed, it rewarded me with additional simoleons. One downside is that they might not have the frequency correct yet, similar to the phone calls and all that nonsense. And I say this because I actually got a second quest shortly after completing the first. This is something I can live with because I'm just happy that it exists, but I can see this getting kind of annoying in the future. The night market wasn't as bustling as I imagine real-life night markets would be. There were a few decorative booths where you weren't able to purchase anything from it. Actually, there were only about 4 out of 15 stalls that you can interact with. Unfortunately, the decorative ones don't even have Sims manning them, which would make the whole area just feel
that much more lively.
It's weird to see empty stalls. Even if you couldn't interact with those Sims behind the booth, I feel like it would just appear better and feel better. I do adore the fact that some of these stalls had little dining areas attached to them. I think that's a nice touch. It wasn't just food you could purchase here. You could even buy goods and local attire from one of these stalls. Overall, despite being very excited for this, I felt like this area was lacking. On to the bread and butter of this pack. property management. This is something I'm going to have to spend a little bit more time trying out. I didn't actually get much time to play with this feature before creating this video.
But
My first impression of it would be that it's cool as heck. It's super easy to convert a pre-made building into rental units, and I assume it would be just as easy to create a brand new building. You can set the lot traits and challenges for each unit, and that's good to keep in mind. Don't leave any units without them. Despite the fact that we don't get any new lot traits, there are 2 new challenges. The challenges are maintenance troubles, there'll be more surprise events that can happen, and mold, where mold piles will start to appear. Be careful. The black mold pile can be deadly. And yeah, that's the new death type, is the mold from this challenge. Now, one thing to point out is that outside spaces can't be divided into unit-only spaces. They're all shared, and it's annoying. You'll have to go into live mode for each tenant and adjust the gate lock setting to avoid weird run-ins with your neighbors, or create outdoor spaces for units where it's only accessible through the actual unit, with no outdoor gates or anything. When you own rental units, you can find tenants through this menu here. You can't do this while currently at the rental place. It's here where you can choose who's going to live in your rental based on their life stage, how many beds they want, and their rent cap. Weirdly enough, you can click on people who aren't compatible with a rental. Maybe their rent cap is too low or there's not enough beds. So yeah, you can click on them, but you can't actually choose them. I kind of wish that these tenants wouldn't appear here, crowd up the place, but it is what it is. This menu is also where you'll find info on the units, like the rating, or you can change the price, lease length, or unit rules. The longest lease length you can do is 999 days, and the shortest is a single day. This info will change depending on what build buy items you use in the unit. Be careful of that. You have to be mindful of the quality, or maybe you are not mindful on purpose. Once you've filled out the rental, you can drop by and visit your tenants. Once there, you can perform property manager only social interactions like unjustly evict, ask about rental conditions, commend tenants, and blame tenants if something went wrong. I'm assuming that as you play for longer periods, your tenants will call on you if something in the rental breaks down or if they have an issue. I did not get to experience that during my playthrough before this video though. Being a tenant hasn't changed at all. If you own city living and experience living as a tenant, then you know exactly how it'll be. The only difference is that you don't have to live in a pre-made apartment to be a tenant. But yeah, pretty much the same thing. You have a loading screen to travel to other units, and the other units will appear empty, like this, when you're not using it as the active lot. In addition, you can give notice in writing for 500 simoleons or purchase a residential unit through this sign. Which, this sign is adorable, just saying. I do like how you can see the unit rating, the cost with optional furnishings, lease length, rent price, and unit rules when clicking on the rental lots. It's clear and concise. All of the info just right there. Breaking into other houses was a fun idea. You do experience a loading screen to do this action, which is sort of a given, especially if you're not currently on the lot. You can't break into empty homes. Only homes that are occupied, unless the home is owned by someone or someone else lives in the other rental unit. Once my sim broke into this house, there wasn't really anything to do. I mean, I could restock their tray for them and lounge in their bed to watch TV. I couldn't, however, steal anything. I'm not sure if this is because my sim isn't evil or they're not a klepto. I don't know. The only thing that was kind of happening was that I was now in an event called Breaking and Entering, and they're not messing around with that name. It really was simply breaking and entering, and that is all. Okay, well, that's not really true. I could snoop through certain items. Once I finished snooping, I got a pop-up notification to let me know I didn't find anything interesting, at least not here. I did find out a secret about someone from snooping in their mail. This person, they baked a disgusting fruitcake for a welcome wagon one time.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I'm hoping that in the future I can find a secret worth gossiping about, okay? And I'm also sad to say that you can snoop even if you're not breaking and entering. I guess the thrill of breaking into a home is kind of like the only thing. There's no other benefit. If you've already traveled to the lot before breaking in, you will have to experience a second loading screen to break into the house. If you're planning to break into the house, save yourself those few precious minutes and do it from the map screen. Do not load in and then break in. Plus, by doing this, I realized that even if Sims are home, something that you can see by hovering over the house or by visiting the house before the break-in, like I did here, the house will always be empty for the actual break-in. Honestly, the only thing that might happen from doing this is that you lose relationship points with the people who live there. As soon as the event is over, the residents arrive back at their house and they might notice you, they might care, they might fight you and hate you forever, and you might get a negative moodlet. It's not really a big deal. Another Snoopy thing you can do is eavesdrop by a front door. I wasn't expecting this and I found it to be hilarious. I kept imagining someone walking out of their front door and catching you, which is kind of funny in my head. You can also eavesdrop on conversations with this interaction. Once again, it's kind of funny. You might learn something about someone. Like always, Build By has some good stuff, and some things that I don't personally care for. The style here is kind of perfect, not gonna lie. If you're a builder, I think you'll be very pleased with the look and quality of these items. These items are beautifully made, and I like pretty much all of the swatches provided, which doesn't always happen. I especially like the brand new grimy wall textures. It's been a hot minute since we got something like that. It also feels like there are some items here that would normally be hidden away in the debug menu, so it's nice to see that those items are in the main buy menu. I am very, very happy with all these items. Similar to Build By, CAS has some real cute items in here. Of course, not everything is to my liking. I find that bigger, bulkier clothing items are typically a miss for me. It just doesn't look right on a sim. But there are adorable outfits here. In addition, we have a brand new tattoo, 2 bracelets, 3 earrings, 1 pair of sunglasses, 2 necklaces, 2 hats, and a handful of new hairstyles. Fortunately, the masculine clothing wasn't lacking. It was lacking in masculine accessories, I have to say, but it is a good step forward. I do think the feminine clothing is better, like always, although there are some cute masculine clothing pieces as well. I think that this is an interesting pack for several reasons. Despite the world being small, it's still quite beautiful looking. It's nice to have another warmer climate world. It's even nicer having one that's based on somewhere that we've never seen in The Sims 4 before. The representation included in this pack is so very important. There is a huge player base that now can represent themselves, loved ones, architecture, culture, food, clothing, and so much more. Like I said in a previous video, Sims 4 can sometimes feel very North American. You can even see that in the last 2 expansion packs, Growing Together and Horse Ranch. Those are super American. I guess this is a benefit from having the game run as long as it has, almost 10 years, because they've had the chance to explore beyond North America. This is a major win for such a widely known and popular life simulation game. It has become more than an American life simulation game. Build By Mode has some gorgeous items. They're well made and all of the swatches look versatile and usable. I love that we now have long-term rental units that aren't just from city living. Of course, being a property manager will be interesting. In my mind, this is still the main reason to buy this pack. Now, of course, I can't conclude this video without exclaiming how happy I am about being able to create custom long-term rental units. This is such an exciting time to be a builder and also to be a property manager in The Sims 4. Can't believe I can say that now. I cannot wait to explore this even further with you. Don't get me wrong, there are certainly elements in this pack that don't feel finished or feel like they're enough for me. Like the breaking and entering and night market and how small the world is. Even still, there's a lot of good here too. If all of this floats your boat and got you excited, then I highly recommend checking out the new DLC. If it kind of got you excited but not quite there yet, and you don't want to drop $60 Canadian on this, then I highly recommend waiting for a sale. Thank you so much for watching my video. I greatly appreciate it. I have a few things I want to do in this pack, so stay tuned for all of that. Until then, stay happy, healthy, and hydrated. Drink that water, okay, party people? Bye!